Joby Wavo Pro is an on-camera shotgun type microphone, so it has a cold shoe mount for mounting onto your camera if you want to do that. It comes with a foamy. It also comes with a windshield for outdoor use. It can be connected to your camera direct or into a recorder via TRS, or if you want to, you can go into a computer via USB. It's a super cardioid microphone, so in other words, it picks up more from the front than it does anywhere else, a little bit from the back and rejects from the side. It has an internal lithium-ion battery, which lasts for 60 hours. It's got a 20 to 20 kilohertz frequency response. It's got a signal to noise ratio of 76 dB, which is getting close to my magic 80, 7980. It's not bad, it's okay. Now, if you want to pick yourself up nice and clearly, all you have to do is plug a lavalier into it and it will take a second microphone as well. That's going to be really, really handy when you're out vlogging with this. It has some other things on it that are really useful. For instance, a 10 dB and a 20 dB gain inside here. It's also got Bluetooth, which means you can connect to an app and actually change the sound of this microphone. The first screen that you get is a monitor. It tells you how loud your audio is. At the top here there are 3 buttons where you got some controls: output gain, LED brightness, auto power, and all the best about and reset. The LED brightness is just the LEDs on the back of the microphone, so when you're out in the sun you might want them really bright, and indoors maybe not so bright. Auto power just switches the microphone on and off when you turn the camera on and off. The output gain sets up how loud your output from your mic is. So I'm going to whisper, that's 10 dB, that's 20 dB, and back to normal again. Going back to the meter screen, you get your meter, and down here you've got EQ and ANR. ANR is automatic noise reduction. So if I tap the microphone, at the moment you can see it's actually switched off. I'm going to tap the microphone. In actual fact, that's not that loud. Now ANR, now I'm going to tap the microphone again. Now you can see it's reduced. To access the equalizer, you press edit and it takes you straight through, and you can see I've got no low cut, I've got no equalizer. So if I want to, I can put in a low cut, which I normally do when I'm using this, and that just, as you can see, takes away the lower end. Good for the voice. The equalizer has 3 areas: warmth, clarity and presence. So you can switch it on. I'll turn the low cut off, and here is the warmth. So if I boost the warmth, you'll hear, hopefully after a couple of seconds, that the sound is indeed a lot warmer. I can then take it back if I want to, and the sound will be a lot thinner. So that's the warmth. The clarity setting goes the other way. So when you push it upwards, the graph goes downwards and sucks out a little bit of the middle for clarity. So that's with the clarity switched in, and it goes a little bit cuppy when you switch the clarity out, and it goes a bit too much for me, so I prefer that myself in the center. The presence setting just sets the top, so if I push that up, you'll find that the microphone will sound a lot more trebly. So now I've got a bit more treble coming through, and if I go the other way, it'll cut the treble down. So you can manipulate this microphone to sound whatever way you like. My favourite setting is to have the low cut switched in and the warmth raised by about 2 or 3, just there, dB, and I find that's a good setting for me. So after playing around with the Joby app, I gave myself 2 dB rise in the 100 Hz area, and I've got the roll off, the high pass filter going. I've got the microphone on the camera, so it's about 3 feet away, and I've got 20 dB gain on the microphone, so I can turn the camera right down, hopefully reducing the noise in the camera from the preamp. The problem with being in a normal front room at 3 feet is that the microphone not only picks up you, but it's also going to pick up reflection from the ceilings, from the walls and all that kind of thing. And that's where the polar pattern comes into play, because you're hoping that that polar pattern is going to reject a lot of what's bouncing around. If that's the case, brilliant. Now just to test how far left and right, I'm going to go to the edges of the frame just to see what the microphone does. So I'm now on one side of the frame, and hopefully the sound hasn't changed too much. Go back over here, and hopefully that's picking me up as well, reasonably well. It might be falling off if the polar pattern is very narrow, because this is a supercardioid, but this is what it sounds like in a normal front room. There are also two other features that I never mentioned on the microphone, and that's on the rear. First of all, the green light on the back flashes when you're talking, so you can see that it's actually working from the rear, which is good news. Secondly, you can put on a safety track if you wish, so it'll record a lower track on one side and a louder track on the other side, which is absolutely fantastic for those times when you really don't know what kinds of volumes you're going to be getting. Also, that green light that flashes up and down when you've got speech going through will flash yellow when it's distorting or over modulating. That is a fantastic thing to be able to see on the back end of a microphone. When you're recording outside, it's a totally different ball game, because you no longer have the walls to reflect sound, but you've got a different thing altogether going on out here. First of all, the wind. So I'm using the supplied dead cat. That'll hold the wind off with a bit of luck without changing the sound too much. Not only have you got the wind to contend with, but you've also got things like airplanes, traffic and all that kind of thing going on, birds singing around the place, and rejecting the sounds of birds actually is quite difficult because it's a high-pitched sound actually, but this is what I'm getting outside. And just to test how this thing is rejecting at the sides and rear where there are no reflections going on at all, this is the front. I'll go down to the side. This is the side at 3 feet. This is the rear at 3 feet, and I'm back to the side again at 3 feet, and now I'm back to the front again. Now this is the completely stupid test. I've still got the traffic to the one side. It's over there this time. Got the sun right in my eyes, but if this is picking me up, it's doing a really good job, because I've got a plane going over, traffic over there, and all the birds tweeting all over the place, and that's the sound of this microphone outside. Personally, I prefer this microphone with the automatic noise reduction switched off. Now, in noisy environments when you're running and gunning, you're not particularly going to hear noises from your camera because it's too noisy. And the times you're going to want to use the A&R are in the quiet times. If you're in a quiet environment, then you're going to be more aware of the noise floor perhaps. The ability to change the sound of this microphone is fantastic. Basically, there are 3 places where you can alter in the basic EQ thing. So you can alter the mid bass, you can alter the mids, you can alter the treble, and you can play around with them all over the place until you get a sound that you really like yourself, that suits your voice. And I think that's a fantastic feature. A nice microphone, well built, has a good sound, has a good basic sound, and can be improved for your voice if you want to improve it, just by moving that thing around in the EQ section. So it's a good all-round type of microphone. Hope to see you next time. Cheers for now.